Hey, hey, hey. Getting
Hi,
ready to
Brad.
kick off here. Looks like I can't share my screen yet, but I'm sure I will be able to shortly. How's everybody doing today?
Good. We didn't have class Friday, right?
We did, well, we had the recorded version because
Uh,
our schedule was so tight. I mean, it's tough to squeeze in another class when you're already doing it 3 days a week, you know. So
I know. It's
what
okay.
I did was just gave you all the link to that recorded call on creating your value proposition.
I saw I never got to it. I've been sick for a few days.
Oh, okay. Well, there is all the calls have been recorded, and it's
Okay,
a link
perfect.
where you're going to get your where you're getting your handouts and all that stuff too. And that is definitely one, maybe even like this weekend, just to go back and pay attention to or watch.
Okay.
Um,
Thanks,
it,
Brad.
it Go ahead.
I said thank you, Brad.
Oh, you betcha. Yeah, and that is
Hey, hey, Brad, I have a question.
yeah.
Maybe my friend before me, maybe she has the same question. I don't know. I missed it. The last session, the session on Friday, you said it's gonna be recorded, right? Where's the recording? I couldn't join. I wanna, listen to it.
What about the recording?
Yes, well, like the session on Friday, I couldn't join, and I saw your email. You are saying that this section is going to be recorded. If you
Yes.
can't join, you can listen later on.
Yeah, it was actually this is like the third or fourth time we taught this session. So I just pulled up the recording from the last time we did deliver your
Oh,
value proposition. And I thought I had the link in there so you guys could pretty much get to it and pull it up pretty quick.
When did the class start? I'm sorry. Started at 2, right?
Yes, 2 o'clock Eastern.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Thank
but you
you.
guys were in another class. You had Gene Rivers all day on Friday. So we didn't do it live on Friday. We just had the recording posted of the class.
so where's the recording?
There was a link in your email that I sent out. It has the folder that has all of the handouts. Have you gone to the folder, the Google shared doc, where you have all the folders for the documents, and there are recorded sessions in there. All of these classes are recorded. Are you
Are you
finding
talking
that?
about emails coming from you today, or was it another? Let me see your email. There's google.com. Let me see this one.
All of these are
Oh,
recorded and
yes.
they're uploaded within, I don't know, 24 hours or so. You guys usually have
Yeah.
them available to you.
Yeah, I found it. Thank you.
Yeah, you got it. Oh, good.
Yes, yes,
I
yes.
tried to make it super easy.
Yeah, it was. It was. It's just in the email that you just sent today.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you,
It was
Brad.
the one I sent on Friday.
Yeah.
But all of the recordings are in the same spot. They're all in a Google shared folder that you guys have.
Yeah, I see all of them now.
All right, now I just happened to lose my Zoom area so I can share my screen. I don't know why it's not coming up here. Maybe it's hiding behind this window. There she is. All right, let me get that back up. Open again. There we go. All right, I'm back. Got it back now. All right, so are we good on, did you find that email? If you all didn't get an email, let me just put in the chat my email. Send me an email and tell me if you did not get the email on Friday that said, here is the link to the recording, and I'll make sure you get that. Like I said, that's, oh, is it not? There we go. There we go. Okay, I think we're about ready. Okay, so you guys just shoot me an email and say, hey, I didn't get the link to the video, and I'll forward you the email that I sent out Friday. But if you look under Friday, if you just search your email and put in the subject line Ignite, you should find an email from me. And actually, here's something else I can do. Let me pull it up for you and show you what it looks like. Now my screen's in the way. Here we go. Should be under Ignite. Maybe I didn't put Ignite in the title. Value proposition. That's how I search for everything. Oh yeah, here we go. All right, so let me pull this email in and share this with you guys. So is my screen shared with you guys right now? Are you seeing my email on your screen?
I see
the Ignite PDF.
Okay. Should be showing my screen here. Let me do it again. Share my screen. There we go. I see why. It was on a different screen. All right, there you go. So this Ignite today is recorded so you can attend the Gene Rivers event. That was the subject line. And then it has a link down here for the Google Drive folders that has all your documents and all of the past recordings. And when you pull that up, if you look here, I put a sample in there that when you get to the Google Drive, when you're in the student files, you should see the recorded sessions in here. And I put that one at the top. Okay. So hopefully you guys can find it. If you can't find it, let me know. That is definitely a session that you want to watch, but it takes probably a little bit more prep than some of the other classes. I mean, setting your goals takes prep. A lot of that stuff takes prep. So is like your value proposition, because what you're really determining is what are the 3 things that you do that your competitors can't say they do, and you might not know what that is yet. So for a lot of new agents, even existing agents, really thinking about it that way. What is it that you do that your competitors can't say they can do? Doesn't mean they can do it, but they will try to say, oh yeah, we can do that too. So, you know, at Keller Williams, one of the samples, and then we'll jump into the new stuff, but one of the samples is, you know, if you put a property on MLS, it'll go out to probably, say, for example, 100 websites, and you'll get some good exposure for it. And MLSs are hooked up with Zillows and Trulius and all that stuff. When you list with me, you actually go out to 350 websites because we've got extra Google juice and extra power behind 180,000 agents at KW. And with our tech department, I mean, just so you guys understand this, that little office fee that we pay every month in your office, whatever that is, and the part that's sliced out for tech, usually about 25 bucks. I don't know what it is it should be pretty standard across the board, but that is money that's going to international tech department to create these apps and command and all the stuff that we're doing and if you didn't know this, Gary Keller is taking a stand for the real estate agents in this company and in this industry to not give away our stuff to just everyone, that we protect and keep that as ours. So it's not a well-received topic in the industry when there's a lot of companies that make money by us sharing our information with them. So anyway, those are the things that one thing in the value proposition is we get you 3 times more exposure to your property would be to a seller, for example. And we'll talk about some of those things today in finding and winning with buyers. So hopefully you guys have been out there tracking down some buyers, finding some buyers. You got some internet leads coming in. And if you don't have any leads coming in and you're not getting buyers from anywhere and you're struggling with that, this is the time to bring that up and ask questions as we go through this content. If anything sparks a question or you're not sure that you're taking full advantage of that, then definitely bring it up and participate today. So with that being said, finding and winning buyers, what has popped to the top of the surface when you saw that title and you all tuned in today that you want to make sure you get out of today's session? Does anybody want to ask, share, just unmute and go? What do you guys want to get out of today about buyers? Are you just in absorbing mode, or is there something, are you guys struggling with anything with buyers or having issues with buyers, finding buyers, getting them to commit to you? Don't have enough buyers? Go ahead.
What I hope to gain from you is how to effectively pre-qualify them so that I'm able to be able to find them their home with less showings. being able to streamline that or shorten the list in an already small available inventory.
Awesome. We're going to definitely cover that today. And remember, I mean, that's just kind of reiterates to myself that this is a mastery level conversation. So we're going to cover that today for sure. Yeah, go ahead. Was there something else? Oh, it might have just been a mute in the background. Anything else?
I think I have something to say. I want to know like what I can tell the buyer that he will think that I'm a competent agent, that I can absolutely help him.
All right. Well, and being here today is the first step for that. And as you go through the material, you're going to build your confidence level up yourself. Your confidence will bring that confidence to that buyer. And let me say that a different way. Sometimes you not being confident because you don't know everything yet might come across as not being confident. And so many times we get excited when we got a buyer in front of us and we want to earn their trust and get them to like us. And so, you know, and you're excited as well. So you want to gain that, and it might seem a little pushy sometimes, or you're just not sure if you've gained their trust. Don't worry about that. You will get that when you're working with more buyers, and it's more of your personal confidence that will drive that. And as we go through the material today, this is where I love this moment right here, because this is where, when I say skim through the material, come to the class on that day, and then skim through the material again right after our session today and go back through it with your notes that you wrote down. Because we are covering some mastery, I'm giving you guys some higher level scripts to use and to bring into your business. However, if you don't have the use for that script today, it may not stick. So it's about going through it and keeping these manuals and your notes as you go through this multiple times. That will start to build that confidence, and you'll finally see those things showing up when you need them. So hopefully that answered your question there. And we will give you a lot more confidence on it today to work with buyers for sure. And as you know,
absolutely.
Yeah. And as you know, it's going through it a couple times, right? It doesn't stick the first time, or maybe even the second time. So it's great to see you back in here again for another round.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. Anything else? Okay, let's jump into the material. And my screen is being shared properly now. You guys see the opening slide, right? And now we are looking at what a successful agent does every day for growing your business and running your business. Is that on everybody's screen?
Yes.
Okay, cool. All right. So again, in the Spark stuff, we're working on the grow your business. And today we're actually talking about, I mean, it seems like we always highlight this one, lead generate for buyers, right? So today is about the buyer side. And as we move into the next 9 sessions, so we're on session 7 right now. We got 2 more in Spark, and then we move over into Elements, which is more running the business. And you'll see the buyers showing up again. So today is on growing your buyer business. We're going to cover more things like on showing buyers houses and things like that in one of the Elements classes. We'll still touch base on a little bit about what you guys were talking about today. It's like, how do I show them less houses, get them pre-qualified and all that. So some of that stuff will come out today. And anywhere during this session, jump in. I mean, raise your hand, unmute yourself, and just speak to jump in and ask a question at any time. Jot it down so you don't forget. But today we're going to be talking about finding the buyers. Okay. So this section here is on finding buyers. So if you are looking for finding more buyers, I mean, obviously the #1 place we find buyers is having listings. We got a shortage of homes, so listings aren't as prevalent as they used to be. However, I also want you to keep this in mind, that because there is a shortage of homes, understand that it's not the market isn't selling houses. The shortage of homes is caused by the houses selling as soon as they hit the market, and even in multiple offers. And it's just because there are more buyers than there are listings. So that supply and demand is out of whack. And most agents are having their best years ever. So we're not selling less real estate. Don't translate no houses available to real estate's not moving. Real estate's actually moving faster than it ever has before, and people are having their best years ever, their most profitability ever. And it's just that they're selling as fast as they hit the market because there's still more buyers than there are sellers. But the market, the real estate industry hasn't slowed down. So 89% of your buyers purchase their home through a real estate agent. So obviously, well, the good news is they probably don't remember who their real estate agent was. There's another study done on that most of them don't even remember who the agent was, let alone the company. But just know that they do like working with real estate agents. And as of now, we still get paid from the listing side of the commission. 41% of the buyers found their agent through a referral from friends or family. Gosh, how much I would love to just stay right here and go back to everything we've talked about from the very, very beginning, guys. This is probably one of the critical pieces. So almost half of the buyers had friends or family that said, you need to call so-and-so. So every time you snap into going to find new business out there in the marketplace, and not to say that you don't want to go knock on doors and farm neighborhoods and do open houses and all that stuff. There's 100 ways to make 100 deals in real estate. However, if you haven't started your master list and you have not pulled your Facebook friends list down and your phone and you got them all in a notebook and you are finding addresses and phone numbers for as many as you can, there's 41% increase in your business. And keep in mind, we're going to say it a couple of times throughout today, 98% of the people that we're talking to as an everyday successful real estate agent is not buying or selling real estate. It's nurturing that relationship to stay top of mind so that when somebody does say, hey, we're thinking about buying. I had 3 texts this weekend that are just like, hey, my friend now is thinking about buying a house this summer. Or another one was, hey, will you talk to my daughter's best friend who is thinking about buying a house this summer? And she needs to know kind of how much money she needs to put down. So these are things that are in the hopper that these people in my database getting that drip know to call me and say, hey, we know to come to you first. So that list is your gold mine. It is a gold mine. That will find stuff. 75% of the buyers interviewed only one real estate agent during their home search. So most of the time, what we're going to talk about even today, and then when we get into elements, is just the system where you capture their information, set them up on a property search, and then have a drip plan to educate them on the process of what it takes to buy a house and to stay in touch with them, because nobody else is staying in touch with them past 1 or 2 or 3 phone calls. And a lot of internet leads and buyer leads can come in. You might get them on the phone once, and then you can't get them on the phone again. So we'll talk a little bit about a system, and I'll show you the capture. We actually have the capture form. It's in your action guide. And also on that link where the videos are, when you find that email and you click on it, there's also another resource page with some forms and documents that you might be able to use as well. And one of them is the buyer intake form, which I'll show you one of those in just a little bit. But so they only talk to one agent. Once you get them on the phone, if you can connect in your conversation and be of assistance. And when we say in real estate, come from contribution, we mean be helpful, right? When I'm talking to a buyer, I don't even assume that I'm going to work with them yet. So on the very first phone call conversion, I get them on the phone. I don't even know if they're approved for a loan, if they can get approved for a loan. They're not going in my car yet, but I've got them on the phone. So I need to say it's so great that we connected today, because I really can guide you through this process so that you can take advantage of the current market conditions. And then this is a script that I've given you guys a couple of times. And if you have the resource site saved, and if you don't have the resource site saved, you'll want to go to this one. I'll find that link here in just a minute, or I'll send it out in an email. I'll give you a roundabout way to get there. Let me just put it in the chat here. This will take you to a resource page that has, it's my little site that I put together with just a whole bunch of database webinars, things that I've shared on. This script is on there, emythrealestateagent.com. So that's going to take you to a form that you fill in your name and address and phone number. Now, if you're already getting stuff from me, you're in. You should have already saved that page and go to it. But there's a script on there that when that call comes in, I'm going to go back to where I was. I'm not assuming that, I don't know if they're pre-qualified or if they can even qualify for a loan. All I've got is them on the phone. And I don't even know if they're an active buyer yet, right? Because a lot of buyers off of the internet might be 3 to 4 months away from starting the process. You just happen to capture that lead while they were looking at a property and thinking about it, but they may not have they haven't gotten pre-approved yet. They haven't even been out looking at houses yet. They're just starting the process. And if you capture them on that first connection and you stay in touch with them and connect with them and use the form, the intake form, to get all their information, their address, their phone number, and you write them a handwritten note, and you follow these things that I've said over and over and over again, put them on a drip plan, and you stay in touch with them, what you're doing is you're sucking them out of the market. And even though they might be 3 or 4 or 5 months down the road, there's 2 current buyers on my team right now that we met them a year ago. They just now got their approval a year later because they've been working on their credit, but they've been getting properties and on our drip plan for a year. Now, I haven't spent any energy thinking about those buyers other than an occasional phone call that pops up and just call. Most of the time you're leaving a message because they're not approved yet. And you're just saying, hey, it's Brad Korn, the real estate agent, just making sure you're still getting those properties. Let me know if you have any questions, or, text me any address that you want information on. So I'm just coming from contribution and being available. That took me probably 5 seconds to type that or leave that voicemail. And they're just on the drip plan, and then they've resurfaced a year later. So we'll talk more about that when we get into that, but 75% of them will just use the first agent if you stay in touch with them. If you get a hold of them once and then you don't talk to them again, probably going to fade away. Or maybe they're not even buyers yet, because you may be struggling with a lot of buyer leads that are coming in and they're never taking your call, or they're not returning your call back. That's going to happen a lot. In fact, only 1 to 2%, maybe up to 3% of the people that you capture right now are actually doing something right now. Just know that 98% of them are eventually going to do something. 100% of them will move. So will you stay in touch with all of them that you did get in touch with? And if you get, yeah, go ahead. We have a question?
I have a question. How do you, well, there's 2 things. One, a friend of mine is planning on looking into buying. They were going to until they found out that their credit needs to be improved. So they're going to take the next few months to fix that. But she had no clue. Like she's like one of my best friends. They're going through Zillow, knowing that I'm a realtor, knowing that I'm going to be the one that's been helping them, all of those things, going through Zillow, contacting the Zillow agent regarding a house, and then all of this stuff, and then coming to me and say, hey, we saw this property that we've been in touch with the agent telling us that he could set up for us to go view the house. And I'm like, so she's my best friend. So I was telling her, I said, if you want me to work with you, then you need to work with, I was very upfront. Like she's my best friend. I could tell her these things.
Yeah.
But she's like, oh, I didn't know how it worked. I didn't know that I can't, if I go to Zillow and I work with an agent through Zillow, there are real agents. I thought they were just Zillow representatives. I didn't know that if they're going to show me a property and I go or whatever it is, then you can't go in and, continue with that process. I said, I just can't interrupt another agent's, work. They're still agents.
Yeah.
And she's like, I had no clue. I don't think people know this.
They don't.
Yeah.
Roy,
so that's one, because I knew how to handle the situation, because she's my best friend. I could be very frank and be like, going forward, you have a question about a property you see, you contact me. I'll take care of everything for you. You just go to sleep. You drink your coffee in the morning. I'll take care of the rest. Yep. But with a buyer that doesn't know me, They do that. They'll go on Zillow, contact the agent, knowing that I'm available, knowing that how do I let them know that without coming across like a bitch or aggressive or desperate?
Yeah.
How do I handle that?
Well, so you are going to educate them on the process. So even the strangers that come through, you have to say, so on that resource site, there's a script that says, you're working way too hard. If you're bouncing around on all these other websites like the Zillows and the Trulias, and I even sometimes just say it wrong just so they don't, I don't actually ever help people remember things like that. But it says when you're on these other sites, you're probably calling on properties that are already under contract and sold. See, the thing is, educate them. The thing that you need to know, I could be talking to a total stranger right now saying it's a good thing we're crossing paths right now, because I can help you understand the process and how it works. So when you're visiting all these other websites, they have to leave something on their site to capture your information because they sell it back to other real estate agents. So what you'll do is I'm going to set you up on our free, no cost, instant notification program. Did you guys know you have an instant notification program? You can actually get the properties to them faster than Zillow and Trulia. Is anybody that didn't know you had that?
I know that you have it on the we have it on the NJ MLS. I also have another MLS, the Garden State. I'm not sure about that. I have to reach out to them.
Yeah. Yeah. So it is your MLS has that auto save search feature, right? Guys, you can also use your command, your main KW webpage where it says, I want to buy a home, and they put in their information or they search for a home. Did you know that once you get the buyer's information, you can go to your own website, pull up your page that searches for properties and save the search, but put their information in it. You put it in for them versus saying, go to my website and fill out this form. They're probably not going to do that. Or if they bounce around and they end up on a different site, they might think they're on your site and they're not. There's people that send me stuff all the time and go, well, your site showed that this property was available. I don't even know where they went, but I usually say copy the web address and send it to me, and it's not even my site. So people do not know where they're getting taken and zipped off to around on the web. Fill it in for them, and they will get the searches from you, from your KW page, as if they had set it up themselves. But you're finding out what they're looking for. The MLS search, yeah, go ahead.
I was going to add something to that. I'm sorry, I just joined in, but it makes a good sense to use social media. You can also, another way is to educate them through your social media. That's how I've been, because it happened to me as well. And a lot of these people, they don't know that, once you start working through an agent, you have to kind of, they're not, so I educate them through the social media.
Yeah.
How do you do that? Like, how do you tell them that we cannot work with other, with the houses you're looking at on Zillow, even though you want to still independently do that on your own? Because I've done that where I've sent them our app, I've sent them I've done all of that. And then yet they still send me information from Trulia, say, hey, you didn't show us this house. Because, well, I know that house. It's not, I gave them all the reasons why I did not show them that house, but they still wanted to all of a sudden see it anyway, even though it was not even close to their criteria. Anyway, we're talking like, it was a non-negotiable, and yet they still wanted to see it. So anyway, but how am I going to tell them the inside scoop of like, listen, I technically cannot help you on a property if you go and look through it from Zillow.
Okay,
even if you're in contract with them.
Yeah,
how do you say it?
When you connect with somebody and you earn their trust, they're going to listen to what you have to say. If you're going through everything too fast and not really connecting and not staying in touch, they're going to be on the other sites. You can tell them, right? I mean, I'm telling you, when I get my capture form filled out, they tell me their life story. And in that conversation, I say, so from now on, any property you see anywhere, I don't care what site it's on, I don't care what sign you drive by, I don't care who told you about it. You text me the address. You're going to have my personal cell phone. You text me the address, and I'll tell you if it's really available or not.
And if they say why?
if they say why, I mean, I know the actual properties that are available through the system that the real estate agents use. So now if they ask you why, you're not connected with this person yet. You're not connecting on a conversation level that they are beginning to like you and trust you. They are still trying to get you off the phone. So I'm not trying to give that information to somebody. If they're not wanting my help, then I'm done. I got enough people that will listen to me that I can help them. Your friend wouldn't say why, right?
No, she asked why. Not because she just didn't understand it. She had no clue. So I had to break it down and really tell her, I really can't help you. And then the person's if I continue working with this project, the commission wise, I have to give it to the other person. She's like, oh my God, I didn't know that.
Well, so there's a couple of things here. They don't know. They don't know. So you just have to tell, like on that particular one, you're going to tell them. There's a lot of different websites out there, and they capture your information and they sell it back to agents, and those agents call you back. And in that particular case, if they hadn't seen the property yet, which hopefully the conversation that we're having, I may be picking this buyer up after they've already seen some properties with somebody. So then we've got to re-educate them at that point. I'm not going to step in with one that they've already showed and have a buyer agency with, but that's where you can educate them and say, now, if you have a showing set up, you can actually call and cancel that if you would like me to work in your best interest. Because once you look at the property, and once you look at that property and or you've signed something with the other agent, just tell them exactly, I work from a code of ethics that we do not pursue other buyers or sellers that are already committed and signed on with another agent. That's our code of ethics. So have you signed anything? I've signed nothing with them. Okay, then call them and cancel the showing and tell them you have an agent. You didn't understand the process. You already have somebody that's looking out for your best interest. You can tell them that if they haven't signed a buyer agency. Does that make sense?
That does make sense.
Yeah, so you just have to make it clear. And then again, if you're not sure and it kind of sounds like they might have, but they're trying to say that they're not, just say, if you signed anything, you could be committed to extra cost if you've signed something with somebody else. So then what you have to do, and we can't really advise them how to cancel a contract. However, I would say, but if it were me and I didn't understand something and I might have signed something I didn't understand, I would first call the person and understand what arrangement we have. Secondly, if it wasn't explained to me properly, me personally, I will ask to be removed from that contract. But if I understood what it was, then you just got to decide. So, I mean, you're really educating them. It's not about, I got to figure out the script to take them away, because if they signed a buyer agency, you can't take them away. They got to cancel their contract, and you can't really advise them to do that. Does that make sense?
Right. Complete.
Most people are not quite at that stage. And as we're going to find out today, most agents don't sign buyer agencies on the front side. Very, very, very few agents even do buyer consultations and explain the process and then get the buyer agency signed. These are all great. This is a great conversation. Is there anybody that has anything to add to that situation? The script is on the website, and it basically is this. Just hear it so it's recorded. You're working way too hard. You're going to a lot of different websites. You're driving around. You're looking at these properties, and most of the time on other websites, they could already be under contract or sold. Same with signs in the yard. So basically, I can offer you a free instant notification program that will send you the properties the minute they hit the market. The minute they hit the market. So let me ask you, I bet you would like to get a really good deal on your next house, right? Now I'm saying good deal and the market's hot. We still want to find them a deal that's a good deal for them, that they want to buy the house. That's what the buyer agency is about, right? It's not about finding out if we can steal the price from the seller. It's about getting them the property at a fair market value, that value is determined by them. Does that make sense? So when you're saying that, you're saying, so I bet you want to find a good deal when you buy a property, right? And what are they going to say? Most of the time they're going to say, yeah. And if we can get it at a great price, that would be great as well, right? So when we go through this search, I'm going to send you properties the minute they hit the market. And if you see any property anywhere else, the only way to know for sure if it's really available, if it's not overpriced, if it is a good deal, all of that. And if it's your dream home, is to text me the address and let me see if it's really available and see if it matches what you're looking for. Because there's several buyers. I mean, I can just look at the pictures and go, okay, you said you didn't like that small kitchen that was 10 by 10. No, absolutely cannot do a 10 by 10 kitchen. Well, that property you just sent me, it's a 10 by 9 kitchen. Oh yeah, take that one off the list. So as you communicate, so when that happens, when a buyer goes into our system, we have a drip plan that just drips on them every probably twice a week. They're either getting an email or something in the mail that just says, hey, your property search is still going. We're watching the computer every day for you, which it's just a search saved in the MLS system that I set up to send them the email on the property the second it comes on the market. See, I don't even, as an agent, I don't even need to see the property first. Because part of the consultation beyond this script, when I say it's our instant notification program, you're looking for a good deal, we'll find your dream home, and you text me any property. So this is free, and I'm your go-to person from now on everything. So I've established that. Now I say the next part of the process is we need to get you pre-approved, got to get into a lender, because if we do find that dream home and it is a steal of a price, I mean, we've got to have an approval letter in our hands. Most of the time, we can't even look at a property without the approval letter. The next part of the process, and this is explaining this is like the buyer consultation conversation, is that when I send you these properties, you are literally one of the first people in the marketplace to even know about it. You're actually going to know about that property before most of the real estate agents even know it's for sale. Now, let me stop for a second. Is that completely true?
No.
Yes, it's totally true. How many real estate agents do you have in your board?
No, you're saying that this property, no other agent is seeing this but you. Is that what you just said?
You're going to know about it before most of the real estate agents even know it's for sale.
How is that possible? Because that access is available to every agent out there.
It's available. There's 10,000 realtors in your board, right? Or how many do you guys have in your board? Yeah, I guarantee you 9,900 of them did not jump on MLS as soon as your buyer got that email and they were watching for it, or they have themselves set up on that same search. Probably not even 100 realtors in your marketplace knew that property hit the market the minute your buyer got the email from you. Let me pause for a second, because on the auto search, as soon as the listing agent hits active, it matched up the search criteria that you had in MLS and it sent it to your buyer. I'm telling you right now, out of 10,000 agents, 999 of them, 9,999 of them were not sitting in front of the computer right then to watch it come live. Now, they may have a search set up too, and it came to their inbox to let them know that there's something for their buyer. So a few people do know it's for sale, but that particular property, your buyer is one of the first ones to know about it. So listen to the words though. You're going to literally be one of the first people to see the property. You're probably going to know about it before most real estate agents. All those are kind of vague comments, but they are all 100% completely true. Not even for a second is it stretching the truth. Now, in a minute or two, if it's priced right, there's going to be a whole lot more people that know about it, but your buyer is getting it that fast. Here's the second part of why I set that script up that way. And believe me, this is the way I've been doing it for 30 years, because I literally show buyers maybe 3 houses and write an offer. So if you're putting them in your car or you're showing more than 5 or 10 properties, this is a system that can help you streamline it so you can help more people. And while you're looking at 10 and I'm showing them 3, I'm grabbing the one that's the best deal before you guys might get over to it. So by doing a system like this, you're actually finding your buyers better properties and getting them faster. So first of all, to finish that script, you're going to know about them probably before most real estate agents. Now, here's what you're going to want to do. Here's what you are going to want to do to make sure you take advantage of today's current market. The minute you get that link from me, if it looks nice online, you like the interior photos, it looks like the Google map and it looks like a nice area, hop in your car the very first chance you get and drive by it. Now, I'm going to tell you that when you guys master this script, it's on the whole thing's on the website for you guys to copy and paste on that resource site. So just go there and register if you haven't done that yet. And it'll take it, once you put in your stuff and hit submit, I've got your information in my database now, so I can keep in touch with you on Ignite stuff. But the next page it takes you to is the resource site. And that's what you want to save to your favorites, so you can go back and just grab some of this stuff that we talk about in these classes. And this script is one of them. So with the buyers, for finding the buyers, when any buyers coming in, first thing I'm saying is getting their information going. Now, you're working way too hard. I can get you properties the second they hit the market. You're going to drive by them. And if you like it from the drive-by, you like the area, you like the whatever, you're going to text me the address and I'll make sure it's still available. And we'll get in there and see it as soon as possible. So they're doing a lot of the work on the front end, because I will tell you, after 30 years of selling real estate, if I take them out and show them 10 properties, and maybe you guys can attest to this, 8 of those, just driving up, they're like, oh yeah, no, this isn't what we thought. Oh yeah, we don't really like this area. Oh, we don't like that neighbor. At least half of them, if you're showing somebody 10 properties, half of them, they really don't even want to go in and look at by the time they do drive up on the property. And we don't have that luxury in a short market, or shortage of homes market. So it's even more important that they're driving by them. They're going to eliminate over half of them. And I don't even mind if you tell them that. I do. I mean, I'm confident enough with this script, and I know it inside and out because I've used it for so many years. But I'll say, listen, you're going to drive by half of the ones I send you that you think look good on paper or on email or however you're looking at them, those pictures online. And I guarantee you, half of them you will not want to see once you drive by it. Now, after a week or so, when we're doing our drip plan and we're sending you properties, are you driving by them? Are you checking on them? Because the system is actually driving them to text us and call us with the ones they're interested in. So out of the next 10 buyers that I may find and put into the system, 9 of them I won't hear anything from till we pop up a call a week from now and go, hey, just checking in, I haven't heard from you. The one or maybe 1 or 2 will actually text us addresses fairly quickly. That means they're out driving by and looking by them. Now, also in our system is a trigger that pops up 3 days after we added them to the system that says, check with the lender to see if they got approved. And just before that, 2 days after, or actually the day they go in our system, they get an email with our lender's contact information. Says, this is the person you want to check with. It's all over the phone. It takes 15 minutes. Call them and see what you approve for. And then we actually print a letter the next day and mail it to them. So we hit them with an email and a mail. And then 3 days later, we have a to-do that pops up that says, call the lender and see if they've called in to get approved. 98% of the buyers have never even called the lender yet. So that's telling me, and it's proving that most of them are really far up in the process. They're not driving by the properties yet. They're not doing all that stuff. So that allows us to have that next conversation when that phone call pops up in a week to check in and see if they're getting the properties. Because we've got all this other stuff that's automated for the first week. When we call them, we're like, so where are you in the process? Have you driven by anything yet? No, we've been super busy and we're really just starting the process. So now I can figure out where they are again, how urgent they were from the time we met them to where they are today. And it's like, no, that's great. We're making this as simple as possible for you, making sure you know about the best properties at the market. And let me just say again, this is all real world stuff. So some of those buyers might say, we're probably about 3 or 4 months away, or they might say, maybe I jumped the gun a little bit. You probably don't need to send me those properties. I do not want to take them off of the MLS search. There's already not enough properties hitting the market every single day that they're not going to be bombarded with emails unless you made the search way too broad. Okay. And there's 2 things when we look for things is we find out their dream home And then we open all that search up to find at least some properties that match, because you won't find hardly anything that matches their dream home. But we're kind of doing this whole class all at once. Are you guys good with this format the way it is? Is this good stuff?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I've come across a few buyers that they say they know what they want. They tell you exactly what it is that they want to see. Going back to your example, the other lady's example, where they start sending you other houses. How come you didn't send me this one? How come you didn't send this one? I drove by, whatever. How do you help them identify what it is that they really want? Because they tell you and describe one thing, but then when they're searching for things, they're searching not only for different houses altogether, but different towns from what they told you that they were interested in.
Yeah, so we got to go from day one when we capture them and they tell us what they want, and into what is the follow-up on what are you getting, what are you driving by? And there's a great one, you guys. What are you searching for? What other sites are you using, and what searches do you have saved, right? So I create the ideal perfect house, which is hardly ever going to send them any emails. But then the other one is homes that may work in that area in this price range. So what you're going to do is when they describe that ideal house, the first contact, you got to build the trust and they're going to work with you, and that they are driving by the properties, and that you know what they're searching is going to come in probably some future conversations. So don't think you have to get it all on the very first call. You're creating a relationship with this person, and you're going to learn more. Like, there are buyers that we're a week or two in, and they're like, yeah, okay, well, let's just go on up from 400 to 450, right? Or let's take our acreage. I know we said we were just looking for 5 to 10 acres, but we could probably make 1 or 2 acres work. So we're just changing their search in the MLS and updating it so that the new stuff's coming out to them. And you could also save that on your KW search. So it's not, they don't know what they need yet. They don't know how the process works. They are going to other websites. They are doing searches. Once you guys connect with them, and I'm telling you, if you write them a handwritten note right after the first connection, you'll cross over to another bridge where they're just like, they're listening to you. They're processing what you're saying, versus you're still a stranger on the other end of the phone, and neither one of you know what each other looks like. You don't know your background. You don't know any of that stuff. Just writing the note crosses over to this other bridge that they process and listen to everything you're talking about, because nobody else has written them a note. I'm telling you, the note's magical, but it does allow for that future conversation to tweak that search. So many times what I find is newer agents are putting way too tight of searches in. You're making your search way too tight. You want to loosen it up. Now, let me stop there, because now there's another conversation that comes into play. And it's like, well, and somebody said it earlier, we're sending, or they're looking at properties that do not match what they're looking for. So when I set up my search and then I widen it, like if they say, I mean, if they need 4 bedrooms, I'm searching 4 or more bedrooms. I might ask in there, are you ever going to consider a 3-bedroom house? Because let's just say there's nothing on the market and they haven't gotten anything for 2 weeks. Would you consider a 3-bedroom house with an office? And they might. So I'll set up an additional search with 3 bedrooms and office, or I still have the other search running for 4 or more bedrooms. So again, that's going to go over time, that you're going to gain that trust, but it's going to be having an ongoing conversation with them. So I have had people change that stuff in the search, and we leave that MLS search. But I usually send them 2 searches: the ideal perfect property, and it says it right in the subject line. This is your ideal perfect property from Brad, your realtor, whatever you want to put in there, right? It always says Quarantine KC, so they know to look for my stuff. The other one is available properties that might work. So when they come to me and say, well, this one, yeah, this is not on enough acreage. It's like, no, understand, I'm sending you a little wider search than what you told me. I'm not ignoring anything that you talked about. However, the market is moving so fast, I need to make sure you know about everything. Because that one that might be on 4 acres, I know you said you want 5 or more. I heard that. I know that, right? And it's right there in my perfect search. I said, I went ahead and put it down to 3 acres just to make sure in this current market that if the perfect property showed up and the 3 acres might work, I at least wanted you to know about it. And if anything, you're educating yourself on the market. This is another script. I want to make sure keep you educated on the market. So if they say, well, we're really holding off for a few months, you can take us off that search. I will, rather than take them off, I'm like, now one thing I can do is leave the search on so you guys can stay plugged into what the market's doing. I mean, this way you can see what comes on the market and how fast it goes off the market. We can even know what they actually ended up selling for. I can pull that information up for you. They're not ever going to call me about any of those properties, but they can call me and find out what they actually sold for. So I want you to be more educated about the market when you are ready to go. So I'd rather just leave you on the search. It's an email. You can just ignore them if you're not doing anything for a month or two, but I would suggest you at least glance at them and know what neighborhoods are going for what and how fast these things are going under contract. Because I want you to be super educated when you get ready to buy. I don't want you to pay too much for a property. I don't want you to buy a house that you're not going to love. I mean, all of those things. So do you see, that's just a conversation I'm having with them. By the way, that's not with a friend. That's not with somebody that I've probably never met these people before, but they are, the way I'm talking right now, you guys can see a little bit of sincerity in there that I'm here to help them. And really what I'm doing is pulling them off the market so nobody else has the opportunity to help them. It's all great questions. Are you guys getting some good stuff out of this?
Yeah, I love it. One more thing I wanted to add to that search is I learned recently about reverse prospecting, where other agents search on their MLS for other agents that have set up their clients with specific criteria. So if a house is about to hit the market, if they're about to list a house, they call those agents and ask if their clients will be interested.
Yep. Well, so you just found out one of the secrets when we get to sellers. If you're going on a listing appointment, you can actually do a reverse search on if you have a listing in the similar area or similar price range. I'm not sure, if, depends on your MLS, if you could put in the criteria of a house and do a reverse search. But man, if you can go with that printed list to a listing appointment and say, I've already got a list of 25 agents that have their buyers in the system looking for a home in this area. I already have a list of people to start calling tomorrow when you hire me. So as a newer agent, you want to talk about confidence? I don't think there's any agents that I know of that are doing that. I always did that. I always went with a list of the 25 agents that were either cross-referenced either out of my database or out of the reverse prospect search. So yes, the reverse prospector. Now that's not going to help you today where we're talking about finding buyers, because those buyers in the reverse prospect search are already working with an agent. They may not have a buyer agency signed yet, and in most cases, they probably don't. However, you don't need to pursue those buyers to pick them up and steal them away from the agents. There's plenty of other opportunities to find buyers, but I don't think that's where you were going with that, other than the reverse search is a cool tool, especially for listings. That's what I would use that for. Guys, the main thing I want to say here is just make sure that you are capturing every single buyer and getting them into your database, like command, so that you can cultivate those into certain buyers. So this cultivate section, that middle section of the graph here, 98% of the buyers that you come in contact with are going to sit there. Now look down at the bottom. This is where we want them. We want them on an appointment. We want them to actively go look at houses. We want them to be under contract, and we want them to close. And I'm telling you right now, this filter that you have in the whole conversation we just had, 98% of them are there. They're not at the bottom yet. You're going to work them through the process and get them out driving by properties, calling you, texting you with the addresses. That's when you're going to get, are they pre-approved? You're going to sign a buyer agency, have a consultation, and then you're going to move them out of cultivate into appointments and active and all that. So understand that most of the buyers, if you think in terms that they're in cultivate, not ready to go look right now, you're going to learn to stay in touch with them better. because we all kind of go for that bottom row. We want them to be one of those 4 things. And if they're not, they just fade out of our background. We didn't put them into our system, so we don't know when the last time we talked to them. And many, many times you're losing 80% of your buyers through the back door because they never even really got in and cultivated in the first place. They just quit calling or disappeared or whatever. Well, that's 98% of them. So you gotta capture them. Add yourself on the smart plan. So in command right now today, if you haven't done it, go find your contact record, put you in and start a buyer drip plan so you see what it looks like. There's all these different buyer things that are out there to educate them on the process. There's a whole bunch of templates that are built into command. The best thing you can do is start one today and let it run so you can put your own email in and let you see what it looks like and go, I like that one, like that one, like that one. And then go start another one that looks kind of cool and start yourself on that one and experience what that looks like. And over time, like if you just make this your year to work on buyer plans, then you can start picking and choosing the things that you like and create your own campaign. And that will fill in with the stuff that we're talking about today, like getting the pre-approval and putting in a to-do to call the lender and see. All right. Let me see if there's anything else that I missed here that I wanted to say. Make sure that any smart plans that you're putting people on, the follow-up, like when I said we get a new buyer until what do we have? We have the MLS auto search plan that they haven't signed a buyer agency yet. The internet lead was just converted. We put them on an MLS search without the buyer agency plan because we haven't met with them yet. I want them to drive by properties and see some properties that they can already go look at tonight. And then we can, when our follow-up call is, hey, let's get together for a few minutes and actually take you through the process. I want to show you what you need to know to take advantage of today's current market conditions. It's like my favorite script ever. I want to show you how to take advantage of the buyer market right now, right? That's basically what you're saying. So setting them up on an MLS search takes 2 seconds. While I got them on the phone, I converted them. They told me what they're looking for. I'm just putting in 3 bedrooms in the area and in the price range and hitting save search, which allowed me to get their cell phone number. In that script, you're going to see where it says. So what I'll do is I'll print off a list of the properties that are out there today. Now, there may be some on there that are way overpriced. That's why they're still available today, right? I mean, anything that was underpriced is gone already. But I'm going to go ahead and print a list of everything that's out today, and I'll drop that in the mail to you. What's the best address for me to send that list to? These are the old ones, the ones that are overpriced. Now, if you're already like going, what? You got to get their address. You can't send a handwritten note without the address. So this is just in my conversation, a good reason for them to give it to me. And if you haven't used the script ever, the first thing you're going to say is, well, they'll just say email it. No, they won't. Not when you follow this script and you've built this excitement about this instant notification program. You're going to find out about properties before almost everybody in the area. You'll be one of the first ones to know about it. They will, literally, right? So I'm going to print this list off. I'm just going to print that off and I'll drop it in the mail. What's the best address for you? Oh, you mean like my address now? That's what they're going to end up saying. You're going to go, somebody's going to say that. If you use that script 10 times, you're going to hear that at least 5. They're going to go, oh, you mean my mailing address? And you're going to go, oh my gosh, yes, that's it. That'd be perfect. And I act like they came up with it. And I said, so they give it to me. And then I say, now, what's the best number to reach you at if I really do see a great deal on the market? Oh, well, it's this phone, my cell phone. Okay, so this is your cell phone. Great. Is there any other number if I don't reach you on that? And this, like, let's just say it's a steal of a deal. Well, I guess I could give you my work number, but most people will just stick with their cell phone, right? Then I say, so I'm going to set you up on a search so that you get the newest properties the minute they hit the market. What is the best email for you? And then I usually say, is there a spouse or something that wants to get the emails too? Great, I get those addresses. I say, now, do you check email regularly? And they almost always say, well, yeah, I check it every day. It's like, I can just email you all this stuff. And they're like, oh, that'd be awesome. They do not turn around and say, I mean, unless they're just way meaner where you guys live, right? unless they are just totally different, they are not going to go, well, why'd you get my address a second ago? They won't do that. Not when you've helped them and you're helping them take advantage of the current market. When you master this script, if you get that and you did it 10 times and you get it 10 times, you call me, because I want to hear how you're giving it, because I don't think you'll get it more than probably the first time you thought you were going to get it. And it's because you were squeamish about getting this stuff. You hadn't mastered the script yet. And that's fine. That's what you do, is you master scripts by using them. So anyway, that script's on there, and I get their address, their phone number, their email. I set them up on a search and I hit go, and I put them in, capture them in my command, and I start the smart plan that then triggers. I mean, an email goes out instantly. Your search is now set up. You should have gotten properties from this email address. It will even show them a picture of what it looks like. And the next step is you got to get pre-approved. Here's the guy to call. And then it's going to go print out in a letter, tells us to print the letter the next day. And it just has the lender's contact information. We drop it in the mail. That way, if we get the return mail, we know if the address is correct. But I would have already sent a handwritten note the first day, right after our phone call too. So there's a process that's happening every single time. And then 3 days from now, it will pop up a to-do to say, call the lender and see if they've called in. 98% of the time, they have not talked to our lender yet. And our next phone call with them is not for a few more days, but the lender's now contacting them. We've given them that information. We shoot them a quick text and go, hey, I was checking in with Sean. You hadn't made it. I want to make sure you had his number. Here it is. Remember, it's 15 minutes on the phone. Text it to them. It's done. Now, I'm not going to think about them again until their phone call pops up 2 more days or 3 more days later. And it's to call them and go, hey, so did you call Sean? Because I'll pull them up in command and see that they're not approved yet. Does that all make sense? I know I just ripped through that whole process, but that's what these smart plans will do for you, so you don't lose track of people. And as far as qualifying, so that was one thing. I know we're like, oh, we're right on top of the hour. As far as qualifying your buyers, I mean, there's all the A, B, and C buyers, right? The way I work internet leads, I'm talking about strangers that are coming in that we're converting. And I want to show you what the sheet looks like that we convert. We probably got a couple more minutes here, but I let them move themselves up from C to A. Now I have that luxury because I've been in business for a while and leads are coming in all the time. But I also understand that letting them move themselves up from C to A means that there's probably 30 buyers a year that I've actually tracked that I don't get, and they buy something because I had them on a drip plan to stay in touch with them. And we did, and they didn't necessarily call us back, and they didn't text us addresses. They didn't text us properties. Sure enough, somewhere over the year, when I'm going back through my list and tracking the results, some of them bought houses and they moved because we get the yellow stickers of death, shows their new address. I go in and look it up, and sure enough, they're the tax owner on that property now. So I do lose properties that way, or I lose buyers that way. However, my trade-off for me is I don't have anything invested in it. And if I had run out and shown them a house and they were just bouncing around to every Joe Schmo that they came across, and they didn't sign a buyer agency because they obviously, if they have to work their way from a C to an A, they didn't necessarily want to meet. They definitely didn't give me all their information. We didn't really connect. They were just trying to get information on a house, right? Because if I connect with them, we're meeting with them pretty soon. Our system has that comes through. So the people that don't make my list or that I say I missed out on, I'm just saying they came across my desk at one point. They weren't willing to commit. We weren't quite there. And we have enough buyers coming in that I didn't have to worry about that. But I don't like it. And I keep working every single year to get more and more of those that we're missing. However, you know, we're still closing some. So you're going to be able to give people a lot more attention if you don't have that much business coming in right now, and you're going to be able to convert more of them. In fact, if you're newer in real estate, with keeping safety in mind, I'm not totally opposed to a newer agent who's got time right now and not a lot of money to do marketing, to go out and meet them and show them houses. Just do it safely and the proper way. Don't just run out and meet total strangers. But what I'm saying is, when they say, get them in for a consultation and sign a buyer agency before you ever put them in your car, that's fine. But if you're newer and you're struggling because you don't have enough business coming in, there you can go and build rapport first. You're you're going to build rapport with 8 out of 10 of them aren't going to buy a house with you, and 2 out of 10 will. So you're hopefully using it as a learning time to learn scripts, to be there to use scripts, to get them to sign the buyer agency. And you're not just doing it to just do it. Does that make sense? I mean, I really want you guys to hear that. There is, at some point, you still have to go on enough, meet enough buyers to know which scripts to use. And if you're using your little, what do I want to say, objection handler book, every time you go meet somebody and they don't want to meet with you and don't want to sign a buyer agency, write down what they said, come back to the script book. You've got your script books right here, the Spark script book and the Element script book. It's all downloadable on that Google Drive. All the scripts are in there. Find 2 or 3 that you could have used. All right, let me just make sure. I think we're towards, oh, this is what I wanted to show you before we end today. This is what a typical buyer sheet looks like. And you actually have one in your information. But we just take down when that lead came in, what the source from the lead was. If it was a referral fee that's on there, we're getting their name, their address, their phone number, all that stuff. Then we're asking them what are you kind of looking for? What type of house are you looking for? And we have all this stuff in here, square footage and other stuff. But when I actually set up the MLS search, I leave it pretty generic. I don't put in square footage all the time because if they tell you they want 2,000 square feet and the absolute perfect house comes on at 1,995 square feet, they might buy that one. And that's where we say buyers are liars. So you might search 1,500 square feet up, and then they'll call you one time and say, hey, this house only has 1,600 square feet. It's like, I know you told me 2,000 square feet, but I don't want to miss something at 1,995 that would be perfect. So I bumped the search out a little bit. When you see 1,500 square feet and you don't like it, just ignore it. It's an email. It takes no energy to just slide right on past it. Now, what will happen is they start calling you on some of those to go look at them and say, well, maybe 2,000 square feet wasn't our minimum. So that's why I put it back into their court. And then we ask them if they've been pre-approved and all that other stuff. So do they have a lender? Have you been pre-approved yet? Okay, I'm going to send you a guy's name and number. And I'm telling you, if you want to take advantage of the current market conditions, you need to call this guy. It's a 10, 15-minute phone call. So that's where you get, once you get this point, now, if you can, on the first call, you can say, so could you see, like everything I just covered with you guys at the beginning of the call, could you see how it might be in your best interest to have somebody looking out for your best interest, right? And if they say yes, say, man, if you got 10, 15 minutes to pop by the office, I can go over this all again and show you that. And then we can actually work for you and work in your best interest, just like I would my mom or my brother. That's how you're going to get them in, to just go over everything again. I'm going to set you up on a search. You're going to drive by the properties. We're going to get you pre-approved while you're driving by the properties. We're going to get this all set so that you can text me with the addresses that you like. And then when we go out and look at the ones that actually make the list, we'll be ready to write an offer. And we'll go through that, and you can go through that whole process if you want to. There's old slideshows that you can just download from KW, and they're probably in Command that explains the whole process as well. So I know this is a lot. We have 1 hour to go over this stuff, and I want you to know that all that stuff is there, but you got to go back to, you got to capture their information first, and then you absolutely have to get them in Command on a follow-up system before any of this other stuff even really matters. But once you build that trust, then they're going to sign a buyer's agency with you. So any questions, ahas, things that you got from today, anything you want to share or ask? What do you guys think about today? What was some of the best things you got out of today's session? Buyers are liars. Buyers are liars. Yeah, and actually I even rephrase that now and I say, buyers just don't know what they want. They don't, we already established today, they don't know. That's why they lie. I definitely love what you said about getting them to just talk and ask, listen, and actually get that feedback from them. Let them tell us the story as to how they're living, where they want to move, the reason why. Because maybe just by them sharing the reason why, then we really dig down and we really say what they're verbalizing is really not what they're feeling, not really what they want. Because I think that that's basically it. Like they just think they want something, but when with their feelings,
in reaction, in body language, they're actually describing something else.
Man, you nailed it. That was Elizabeth, right? Yeah, you nailed it.
Yes.
Like, have a conversation. And I know we're excited when we're newer in real estate and you got a buyer on the hook. You just have to take a breath. And you know, when they say you got 2 ears and 1 mouth, use them proportionately. Ha ha ha. Listen, it's eyes and ears, and listen and see how they're talking. You might just have them on the phone, but you can hear people talking. Just open up a dialogue to ask more questions. And like she just said, the conversation will get around to, well, so who's all going to be moving with you? I mean, I don't just say a stranger comes in and goes, so who's buying the house? You, your wife, you got kids? What are you doing? You got in-laws moving in? No, we had a conversation. Tell me about what's important about this date. You know, why, when they say we're looking for 5 to 10 acres, okay, well, just help me understand, what's the 5 for? Well, we have a horse, okay, whatever it might be. So you get into those conversations, and then I'll get into that conversation, go, so who's all moving in with you? It's like, oh my gosh, my entire family's moving in. We're going to have like 7 people living in this house. Those are just it. Now I see how I'm connected, and they're telling me their life story. It is really fun when you get them to that point. And this allows me to do that. I just follow this process. And here's where I ask the other questions after I've kind of find out what they're looking for, because then I'm wondering, you know, it's going to bring up questions. Why do they only want 5 acres, or why do they only want? So yeah, to make sure I find the right house for you, tell me why that's important to you. What's important about that? So awesome share. Anyone else before we tune out? Do you guys like this class? Was this good? Do you feel like you're grasping this unknown buyer world a little bit more? And if you've worked with buyers in the past, did you see anything in there that you can maybe use to tighten this up and get their information, get them captured, and put them on a drip plan? Right?
Yeah, I don't think we had like a drip plan for specifically buyers 2 years ago in Command. I think that's a new thing, right?
Well, you can go to the library and you can search some different ones. Whatever you do, put yourself on it first, okay? And every time I have a new plan, I will put myself on it, and I won't start the consumer on it till about 3 to 5 days after I'm on it. That way, if something comes across that I don't like, I can go in and take it out of the plan. That smart plan, once it starts running, I can delete that action item. So yeah, good. Yeah, there's a bunch of them in the library now too. You just have to sift through and just know that people are throwing their stuff up there. I've got one in there right now. The one that I know is good and valid is that cleanup database or reconnect database, something along those lines. There's only like 2 that pop up. And what I've noticed about some of the smart plans is some of them just have too much hands-on to do stuff. So you want to have a little bit of automation in there and some more reminder systems and some phone calls. So yeah, just play around with it. That's the whole thing. This is an hour. So now I hope I intrigued you enough that you're like, hey, I'm going to get in Command and take an hour out tonight or tomorrow and look at some of those things that are in there, and then shoot me any questions that you guys have. All right. I know we went over a little bit today, but great having you guys here. Thanks for your participation for sure.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Great value.